Hello everybody, SpiritGaming here, and welcome to another CN spoiler video. The translations for these level 110 and 120 deep talents are brought to you by Kalinko. This player is one of the most active players, chatters in the official Generation Discord, also in my Discord as well. Speaking of which, you should join. For any questions that you have, we can answer them. Any discussions you want to have, everything like that, join the Discord, leave a like and subscribe while you're there. And yeah, link is down in the description, of course, like always. And without any further ado, I think we should start with the Soul Dancer first, because that's the first on the list. Of course, now we have every single translation for every single class. So yeah, let's get this going. So these are the 110, so these, and 120 deep talents. So let's start with Ally of Bond, which is this one right here. Boutin's Pact is active, reduces all damage taken by 5% when HP drops below 25%. That is good. Also, I think that you have to keep in mind that these are only the first ones, so that would be like 50% damage taken reduced when this skill is maxed out, so that is pretty cool. Next up we have Special Force, which is the green tree. Time expansion increases magic attack by 2%, basically stacks up to 10%, which is insane. Like, you always use time expansion anyway, which is very good. And then we have two level 110 deep talents on the third tree, which are a condensate, whatever it's called, never mind. Ice Glider Shock's slow effect increased by 2%, which is meh, while decreasing target slow resistance by 2% as well. Now, this is not the best thing in the world, I would say. The reason is just because that most players will have super armor like 24/7 at the point when we get to level 110. So really not sure what's gonna happen there, but maybe this is gonna be good later on in the game. And of course, it maxes out to 10%, which is quite good too. Next up, this is quite good. Dizzy Phase Shock reduces target hit rate by 2%, again stacks up to 10%, which is pretty interesting and pretty cool and useful. However, I'm not sure if this is gonna be used, in 1v1s. It's mostly gonna be used in like group PvP because Phase Shock isn't actually like an AoE ability, so reducing like the hit percent rate on all enemies is gonna be pretty huge, like extremely huge, okay? And again stacks up to 10%. So yeah, that was the level 110 deep talents for Soul Dancer. Now let's take a look at the level 120 deep talents for Soul Dancers. So they are over here, like this spot. Ice and Snow, healing effect of Ice Glider Shock is increased by 5%. This is very cool because first of all, it stacks up to 20%, which is like very cool, but we will see what happens with the healing. I'm really not sure, but I do think this is gonna be very effective. However, if you're running the C talent that basically removes the healing from Ice Glider Shock, then this is basically gonna be useless. But if you're not, then you can go ahead and use this probably. Unbreakable Will. Okay, this is the same as Draconic, but let's see what it does. 20% chance to release from crowd control upon receiving a control effect. Cooldown 180 seconds. So this might be good, this might be bad. Of course, it's a 100% chance when it's maxed out. However, the bad thing, I guess, is that, as I said previously, most of us will have like max like 24/7 super armor, and you have light beacon as well as a Soul Dancer to remove that as well. We will see what happens though. Maybe the meta will be completely changed. And next up we have Blizzard of Winter, which is basically the damaging ability. Increases Ice Glider Shock damage by 5%. This is probably mainly gonna be ran in PvE, right? Because in PvP, yeah, sure, Ice Glider Shock is probably one of the most used abilities, but we're at the point where we can spam like Azure thing, the circle, the blue circle, time lot, and so on and so forth. So this might not be the best when it comes to PvP. However, it does stack up to 20%, so that's very cool. But yeah, we will see. Of course, this is just like a spoiler video, it's nothing much else. I can't really say what's gonna be good, what's gonna be bad, but my prediction is that this is gonna be used in PvE only. Okay, let's move to Blade Masters now. Level 110 deep talents, and yes, again those are these ones. Blade of Destruction, damage of Infernal Beauty, this is probably it, is increased by 4%, stacking to 5 times. That is like 20% increase, which is insane. That's probably a must use for PvE and PvP, both of them. Next up we have Flash, this stacks up to 3 times. Flash has 20% chance to reduce target physical defense by 12%, stacking up to 3 times, that's 36 and a 60% chance, which is quite good. Keep in mind, now our Flash cooldowns are pretty high, but at level 110 or up, they are gonna be pretty low, like around 10 seconds, which is quite insane. And having that 10% chance to reduce 10%, I guess, no, not 10%, like 36% physical defense reduction to enemies is gonna be pretty huge every 10 seconds. Next up we have Shadow, dodge rate increased by 1%. This may or may not be good. We will see what happens with the other deep talents. We still don't know much else, or if there are gonna be some new draconics and stuff like that, but it's a pretty cool ability. And plus another thing is it does stack up to 5 times, which is 5%, plus this right here, this ability right here, it's gonna be a must, since this ability right here, the one that I'm pointing on with the cursor, basically reduces damage taken by 5%, and that's basically gonna be a must have in PvP, so it might be very easy to get the dodge rate, but we will see later on. Now we get to the Odachi part, which I don't really like, and it won't buff that much. Freeze chance of Blizzard normal attack increased by 1%, damage dealt to frozen enemies increased by 1%. I feel like it's it's just not too good, it's not too great. 5%, it stacks up to 5%, but still meh. Even if you freeze the targets quite often, they can really press the button and they will get unfreeze. Probably around 2 seconds they will be freeze maxed if they are good. Next up we have Marched. When switching stance to Odachi within 10 seconds, increase damage dealt by 2% and movement speed by 5%. Sure, it's probably gonna be good. I shouldn't have said sure, but I feel like these deep talents right here are just way better when it comes to everything, like even the physical defense reduction. Infernal Beauty damage is increased by like 20%, which is insane. Don't get me wrong, it's insane. However, the movement speed is really good. But the problem with that is that in Odachi form you don't need movement speed at all. You need movement speed in middle form, since in Odachi you have like very big gap closers, and you're not gonna chase with Odachi form since the auto attacks are slow hitting anyways, and you won't get to anyone if you have this huge movement speed buff. So I think that both of these are kinda useless, and I will stay thinking that way, I guess, and maybe we will see when we hit this level, but yeah. Next up, level 120 talents, which are these ones right here. Encourage, when Cherry Blossom stacks up to 3 times, 3% chance to bound the target for 3 seconds. Target is unable to move under bound status. This is probably either delay or it's basically a complete silence. It's for 50% chance when it's maxed out, which is quite good, not gonna lie, quite good. However, I'm not sure if this works with the Cherry Blossom stacks, if they are not gone, like really not sure how good this is gonna be. But if it works like that, if it works with the target, with the stacks that you already have, and each time you have a 15% chance to do this, it's gonna be very nice, very nice. Martyr, when talent last raw triggers, basically that's the Demon Rage and Araku thing, grants a shield for self for 8 seconds, absorbing 10% of max HP. This effect only occurs once every 180 seconds. Good, but this triggers when you die, and what happens then, I'm really not sure. Maybe you just get a shield and don't die for a long amount of time, who knows, but I feel like either this is not translated well or something. Really not sure why would anyone use this talent, especially if it's on the green tree as well. Moonlight, upon casting Moonshadow on Landslide, grants a shield that absorbs 1% of max HP for 3 seconds. Okay, it stacks up to 3%, but not really sure if it's gonna be good. Again, as I said, like this encourage thing, if it works like the way I think it will, it's just gonna be overpowered when it comes to... It's gonna overpower the other ones, I guess, the other deep talents. Okay, that's about it for Blade Master. Now let's move to Gunslinger. Okay, Gunslinger, level 110 deep talents. Again, I have read through this and I can say that the left tree is insane. Pulse Bomb, so this is probably right here, right? Pulse Bomb has a 2% chance of triggering a secondary pulse bomb on hit with half the damage and consumes no energy. That is pretty insane. Even though it does have the damage, it still can crit and probably even crit and multi-strike at the same time, which is very good. Combat calibration system, when talent target locked is triggered, for 10 seconds increase hit rate by 10%. So this means that probably if you are like targeting someone for a while, this will trigger and increase like hit rate by 10%, probably stacking up to 3 times, which is 30%, which basically is kinda gonna be an indirect counter to the, I guess, Blade Masters, especially because they do have a high dodge chance. However, Blade Masters are gonna get some more dodge chance anyway, so we will see what happens then, and this is only for 10 seconds. Elemental bullet wind attack increased by 111. The person who translated this does have a very low level account on the Chinese server, so it's 111, but it's probably gonna be way more, and plus it stacks up to 5 times, it's gonna be way more. However, it's probably not percentage based, which means I'm pretty sure this is not gonna be that worth it, but we will see what happens, right? Next up, to the right tree, the blue tree, Explosive Shield. When spread particle shield is broken or expired, deals that amount of damage to nearby enemies, inflicting aerial and knockback. So this is the only thing that's good. The shield thing depends. Depends if it's like the shield from the Wolf set, because if you guys didn't know, from the Wolf set, the shield, even if someone does like 10 million damage while we have that shield on, it will do 0 damage to you the first time. Okay, so that shield is pretty insane. If this shield is gonna be like that, then this is gonna be a must-have for even PvE dungeons. Flash Mine, SPL Mine, and Portable Mine reduces target hit rate by 2% for 5 seconds. That's good. That is pretty good, since flash mines, you do land them quite a bit. In 1v1 maybe not, but in group PvP you do, and having that AoE debuff is gonna be pretty huge for your team. Now, level 120 deep talents improved on wind blast damage increased by 30%, which is crazy. It stacks up to 90% probably, and like, okay, this is insane. Of course, wind blast does not do that much damage, but when it's increased by 90%, almost doubled, that's insane. Now, Swift Advance, again, this is very good. I have read this and is extremely good, since gunslingers do struggle a lot with movement speed, and getting movement speed, like this movement speed, is quite insane, especially if it's a passive. And whenever you use, let's say, the talent that gives you movement speed while you are in invisibility, plus combining it with this, it literally gonna increase your movement speed by a lot. It already increases by 20% if you max it, so probably a must-have in PvP. So yeah. Hit Reflex, Hit Blast recovers 10 energy upon hitting a target. Pretty good. However, Hit Blast, not sure if we landed too much, but it's still gonna be good in PvE especially. So yeah, that's pretty much it about a Gunslinger. Now let's move to the next class. Okay, so here we are with the Assassin, but probably the upcoming most OP class in the world, or in the game, I should say. As I said, and I have said, I've done a video about it. China had a balance buff, which literally like made Assassins OP when it came to damage. And we will see what Assassins get with 110 and 120 deep talents right now. Crystal Ripple. Crystal Coffin deals continuous damage. Don't like this at all. Probably not, no one is probably gonna use it, and it's this one right here. But the problem is that this right here is gonna be a must. I guess we will see, I guess, when we get to level 120. Okay, DJ Dark Rasp increased targets damage taken by 1% for 5 seconds, stacks up to 3 times, basically 3%, which is quite good for 5 seconds especially. Next up we have the level 110 deep talents for the green tree, I guess. Knockback resistance increased by 2%. Pretty cool. It stacks up to like 8%. It's fine, since assassins do struggle with super armor quite a bit. so it's gonna be nice. Potential burst when HP drops below 50% for 10 seconds, increase magic attack by 3 seconds, stacks up to like what, like 9-12%, yeah, and 25% chance of refreshing all steel cooldown upon trigger, occurs every 180 seconds. Okay, but not okay at the same time. Probably no one will use these. Both of these, not many people will use them, especially since the level 120 deep talent is gonna be easier to obtain even without these two. Okay, so yeah. Next up, Shadow Spectator, which melee form is gonna be a more used one at this stage of the game. Hit rate of Nether Dart increased by 20%, which is quite good. It stacks up to 60% again, which is quite good, especially against Blade Masters. We all know that assassins do struggle with Blade Masters when it comes to 1v1 in melee form, so this is gonna be quite good to hit. Level 120 deep talents, Crystal Reflux, yeah, it's this one right here, which means we must upgrade Crystal Ripple by 5 points, which is not sure if it's gonna be a waste or not, depends on how much damage we will do with it, but we can see about that, I guess, later on when we get to this point. Well, Crystal Ripple deals damage, which is this thing right here, reduces damage dealt by target by 0.5% for 3 seconds, 0.5% stacks up to like 2%, plus you have to be stationary. I'm not sure if this is gonna be the most worth the thing in the world, I'm not gonna lie at all. Maybe for free-to-play players, the debuff one, as I said in my last assassin video, the debuff build, this might be good, but otherwise, no. Nope. Void Assimilation. Upon casting Young's Void, heal self by 0.2% of max HP every second. This stacks up to like what, 1% I think. And it's just good. It's just good. For 5 seconds you're getting healed by 5%, by 1% each second, so that's 5% of max HP, not missing HP, but max HP, which is quite good. It's pretty good. Yeah, it is a pretty good ability, I should say. Shadow Scheme. While in Dark Shadow form, increase magic attack by 0.6 per second, stacking up to 5 times. Does not reset. When exiting Dark Shadow form, effect of the last stack lasts for 6 seconds. So how I understand this and what this probably means is that while in Shadow form increases this amount of magic attack per second, but then when you exit the Dark Shadow form, you basically still have the same buff even in range form, right? However, the thing is that this does not reset, and basically you lose the first the 5th stack, the 4th stack, the 3rd stack, the 2nd stack, and the 1st stack, like not all at once. They go one by one by one by one, which means you will have this for a long amount of time, and you will probably keep this for this buff, like these stacks, for a long amount of time, basically making this deep talent both useful for both ranged and melee form, and this is probably why this is gonna be definitely a must, and melee form is just gonna be ridiculous in the Chinese version. Next up we have Reapers, right? Level 110 deep talents. Dodge rate, okay, blur, dodge rate increased by 10% for 3 seconds after casting Cat's Kiss. Good, very good. It's gonna be buffing Reapers a lot. Right now, probably in China, Reapers are not doing that good because of the balance update. Yeah, Reaper did not get too much of a buff. This is probably why they are getting these deep talents. Next up we have Spectral Affinity duration of Phantom Spectral Cat is increased by 0.5 seconds. Not sure what this means, really. Really not sure what this means. Probably the clone, right? However, no, it's not the clone. I see, it's the teleport thing, right? The teleport in blue form increased by quite a bit of seconds. This might be very useful, not gonna lie. It is probably gonna be very, very useful. Having that amount is definitely useful, okay? So again, blue side is probably gonna be the main thing, but we'll see what happens next. Magician grants stealth for 2 seconds upon positioning exchange with a clone. This is very nice to have, since you can even trick the enemies even more than they are already tricked. 6th Sense, casting Raven's Shadow and Cat's Kiss has 5% chance of not consuming heart energy. Very cool, very useful. However, there's a problem with this, because since at this point at level 110 we will have like a ridiculous amount of cooldown reduction anyway, so this probably might may or may not be useful. Feedback. In Raven stance, every time a character is controlled recovers, then heart energy occurs once every 1 second at most. Still not the most useful thing, since, as I said, we will have ridiculous amount of cooldown reduction, and we will just stay in cat form for the longest amount of times. So all of these things are probably not gonna be the best, except just Magician. 120 deep talents. Agitate, Destruction Blast, crit rate of Phantom, Spectral Cat increased by 0.5%. Okay, so this is basically the clone, right? It's not the Cat's Kiss, it's the clone. Okay, so both of these are probably not gonna be that good at all. Not gonna lie. Okay, just because they don't do too much damage. This thing does not do too much damage. However, getting this right here is gonna be a must, since it's gonna increase the damage of the Reaper itself. And we will see what happens, but this two, really not sure if they are gonna be useful at all, really. Temptation, increase the physical defense bonus upon casting Raven Shadow Kiss and Cat's Kiss by 10%. This is gonna be very good, I guess, since the main problems, yes, even Blade Master will become a huge problem for Reaper right now, with the addition of another charge for Blade Masters in the Chinese version, and also very high cooldown reduction Blade Masters that literally have like 3-second dashes, 6-second dashes, and so on and so forth. So this might be very good, and also, you know, fighters do get quite a good amount of damage onto the Reapers. Concentrate, increase the size of shield from talent of weighting by 5%, while the shield is active, grants 10% chance to nullify aerial and knockdown effects. This is good, but a very good Reaper will never need these aerial and knockdown effects to nullify them. So probably useless, probably not that good, and most people will probably go with Temptation with this one. So yeah, that's pretty much it about Reaper. And lastly but not leastly, Fighter is here. Level 110 deep talents. Okay, Unbreakable Strength. Well, Giant Strength effect is active, reduces damage taken by 2%. This is insane. Let's see where it is. It's probably one of these two. Both of them stack to 10%. So it's, yeah, one of these will stack to 10%. It's probably this one, since it does look like the thing, right? Yeah, it's this one. It stacks up to 10%. Okay, this is literally insane, since it's not his defenses that are increased, but literally it reduces damage taken by 2%, meaning that AP is gonna be useless against this deep talent. So yeah, this deep talent is gonna be a must use probably for everything except PvE like events that you don't get damaged a lot in. Frost. This is it, Frost. Flying Swallow reduces target movement speed by 0.8% for 5 seconds. Not the most useful one, as I said. We will always have super armor most of the times, like most classes will have super armor all the time. Probably not the most useful thing, probably gonna just go straight for this thing right here. Overheat, Blackfire Punch recovers 1% fusion energy. Each stage of charge Blackfire Punch recovers 1% extra fusion energy. This is extremely good. I can't stress this enough, this is like extremely good. However, it stacks up to 3% on both, I guess, so it's still very good. It's just very good, okay? It's extremely good. Especially with the mecha buffs on the Chinese version, extremely good. Energy Transmutation, heal save by 1.5% upon fusing with mecha. Not the best thing in the world, however, it is very good as well. Okay, and last, level 120 deep talents, Fighter Spirit, increase Giant Strength duration by 1%, by 1 second, excuse me. Huge thing, 4 seconds, that's like amazing. We will easily have a Giant Strength 24/7 in PvP with Onikatsu, definitely. This is gonna be something that's gonna be insane, increasing the duration by 4 seconds. Not sure if this was what they meant to do, since I do think it's gonna be a little bit on the OP side, but we will see what happens. Soft, when attacked, increases self crit res by 1% for 8 seconds, stacking up to a maximum of 3 times. Crit res might be very good, especially now with Fighter, and especially that later on we will probably put some crit res on our gear pieces. It's gonna increase your own crit res by 1%, basically by 5% at max. So yeah, this is gonna be very good, and stacks up to 3 times, which means 15%, and that's insane. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty good deep talent. Heavy Shock, for 5 seconds, mid-impact increases target physical damage taken by 2%, setting up to 15%. Ooh, now who knows which is gonna be better? It's either gonna be this or this. However, I'm probably aiming towards this Unbreakable strength, since giant strength effect is insane and this is insane as well. We will see what happens, of course. And next we have credits to these two people for helping me get an account in the CN version. This is set by Kalinko. It's not set by me, by the way. So yeah, a huge shout out to these two people, and also for Kalinko for, you know, they did get him the account on CN, but he did translate the deep talents, which is very good, and thank you to him, thank you a lot. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, hope you learned something about the late game of the game and how everything is gonna be on the China server and how it's gonna be on the global version soon, pretty soon, I guess in a few months. Probably 3 months we will get to 110, or 2 months maybe. We will see what happens depending on devs and their level cap increases. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Join the Discord again, huge shout out to these 3 people that I mentioned already. And yeah, thank you so much for watching again. Like if you have not liked already, subscribe if you have not subscribed already, and join the Discord if you have not joined the Discord already. Bye bye, until next time, and see ya.